Hi, it's Michelle Lange with Lang Media, and I'm here today to talk to Brett Mallory Miles about the importance of getting buy-in. Now, Brett is an executive coach and business consultant who helps executives and business leaders learn how to get buy-in so they can achieve their goals with greater ease and speed. He's worked with very prestigious companies, including CBRE, the Getty, DreamWorks, Warner Brothers, Universal Studios, and Toyota. So welcome, Brett.
Thank you so much, Michelle. It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. It's such an important topic. And I'm wondering if you could share with our audience why you think buy-in is extremely important.
Happy to do that. The whole thing that I'm finding in 25 years of teaching managers and leaders how to be better at what they're doing is their goal always is to get agreement with other people. They know they can't do it alone. So the notion of getting buy-in really addresses that, Michelle. It's the idea that when there is buy-in from people, they're engaged, they're committed, and there's greater productivity. So the way I define getting buy-in in the process and skills around that, that's the importance. That's the importance.
That's awesome. And what are some of the different areas of someone's business and life where buy-in comes into play?
Well, certainly in business, a manager or leader is either running a project, running a team. They've got outside vendors, suppliers, other people that they're trying to gain agreement with and coordinate all the action and all the work. And so their ability to get, if you will, the agreement or the buy-in from other people quickly, easily, efficiently is going to produce the results and the achievements they're trying to achieve, the results. So that's why in the business world, that's so critical. I've also seen in the personal world where an individual's trying to just gain agreement with their family members. It could be their teenagers. It could be their spouse or partner where, they're making career decisions together. Do they move to the East Coast and take a job there or whatever it may be? But in the end, it's all about gaining agreement with people, Michelle.
Yeah, I could see how that would be so important in every area of your life. And especially if you run a business where you really need to get buy-in from your team and your vendors and your assistants and the different people that you work with, and even your stakeholders, investors, and superiors, right?
Exactly. And, there's all kinds of challenges are faced, but, people do presentation skills training. They do communication skills training. They even take acting classes trying to figure out how to do that. And getting buy-in addresses the most efficient, best way to do that. And that's what I love it so much.
So I'm curious to know when somebody can get buy-in, how does it change things? How can it actually shift and transform the direction of a conversation?
Mhm. Well, this is a great question because we know that in relationships with people, trust is foundational to that. Oftentimes, a manager or leader, just in the haste and the good intention of getting results, will quickly tell somebody, hey, do this, go here, do that, etc., without maybe taking a little bit of extra time to remember who is this person. So, for example, a professional doesn't really want to be told what to do. They just want to know what do you want them to achieve and let them figure out how to get there. A rookie may need to have more direction. So when a manager or leader takes a little bit of time to make sure there's trust there and there's some understanding about who their audience is, things go a lot faster and a lot smoother. Just to give you a quick tip on that.
Yeah, and in fact, I read a book for parents that my brother had it laying around for parents and their children, and it said that when you can even co-create solutions with your children, they're 10 times likelier to do it. And adults are like big kids, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, in the end, adults matter, and they know something, and they want to participate in the decision. So you're exactly right. To co-create a solution with them is brilliant, and we teach you how to do that.
That's awesome. So I'd love to hear more how you approach working with clients to get more buy-in. Like, how do you help your clients be able to do that in their environments?
Okay. Well, the beautiful thing about it is, yes, it involves some skills and yes, it involves some process. But where we start, Michelle, is with someone's attitude. Because we know that when someone has an attitude with another person in a relationship that says, I care about you, I respect you, I'm seeking to understand what you want and need, that transforms the whole possibility of getting buy-in. So we start with an individual's attitude. So in my case, where I'm teaching managers and leaders, for example, I want the leader and manager to really ask themselves, what is my attitude right now when I approach my team, trying to get their buy-in to a strategic initiative. And so we coach them on looking at what is their attitude and what would be the best attitude given who their team is, because it could be a new team, it could be a team that's well entrenched. So each team and what their situation is calls for an attitude that's going to show respect and understanding for that group. So we start with attitude.
That's awesome. A lot of the people in my community are, and I'm going to kind of outline a couple of different demographics and the type of people they often need buy-in from. So for the entrepreneurs, they need buy-in from their teams, vendors they hire, like a web developer or a video person. They need buy-in also from their clients. And similarly, my other demographic of clients are executive consultants who are going into corporate. So they are going to need the buy-in also of their clients and also of their team.
Right.
What are some of the ways you'd work with this demographic to really help them given what their niches are?
Well, I think you've outlined some different scenarios there that I would want to zero in. So let's take an entrepreneur, for example, to begin. An entrepreneur, and they can vary too on what they're trying to achieve, but most entrepreneurs are trying to get things done, right? And they're juggling lots of balls, et cetera. So they're moving really fast. And so the question is, can they move quickly with other people, let's say vendors, suppliers, even coworkers, and still honor the other person so the other person is not offended and feels like the entrepreneur cares about them, et cetera. And so that's what we'll work on is how do you do that quickly? How do you, in a sense, assess your audience and then very quickly set a context for your audience to hear that, oh, you as the entrepreneur care about them and are seeking their input and trying to co-create a solution. So if the entrepreneur conveys that, there's a greater likelihood they can move quickly to get buy-in with the person they're working with. So I hope that helps.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, because when you and I were hanging out at Jeff Walker's event, you did a bit of laser coaching with me on getting buy-in for sales conversations. And I've got to tell you, it was so powerful. So powerful. It opened my eyes to a whole new way of thinking.
Awesome. Good.
So I can see
that's where it starts. In the end, I honor each person I work with. They can do what they want to do. But most of them say, but yeah, I want to do this other thing and I'm having difficulty. And if I see a way forward, then I'm going to ask them to take a look at how they're thinking about it. Because once they shift that, then they can decide how they want to be and then what to do in terms of process and what skills to use. So thank you for that, Michelle, for that compliment. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. And so for the executive consultant, which is kind of an interesting dynamic because, they're going into big corporations, they're working with CEOs and influencers. How might some of these principles apply for them?
Executive coaches, is that what you're referring to, executive coaches?
Yeah, people who do work very similar to yours, actually, going in and working with top level leaders. And different stages of that, right? First, they need to close the sale, to get the job. And then they've got to be highly effective when they're in the job so they can build that long-term relationship and continue to be hired.
Yes. Well, a lot of people are good at getting the business and then and keeping it, but some people don't get the business right away, or once they get it, then they feel they have permission and they go in as a coach, and then they may violate some of what I might recommend. So if we remember that the get buy-in starts with a good service attitude, and I haven't gotten into details about what are the 4 key steps, and I've hinted at it, that it's seeking to understand what somebody wants and what they need, and then also dialoguing about what the other person would suggest. So if I'm doing executive coaching, Michelle, I'm going to come in with an attitude of really wanting to help. Now, that's pretty given for most executive coaches, but I'm going to be real conscious of that. Secondly, I'm going to ask a lot of questions to find out what do they want. And the want is the emotional piece. And what do they need? Maybe something I see. But I'm going to ask them, what do they want? And a lot of times they want more confidence, or they want to be seen as respected and to have people follow with what they're recommending. And so I'm going to recommend that they figure out a way to co-create that with another person so that they can suggest and hint and direct, but in the end, they've got to co-create. So, and there are some skills: listening, asking good questions, suggesting is a skill. But in the end, the last thing is to ask for action. And a lot of times people don't ask very well. They don't feel like they have permission to ask. So I'm always saying, well, what's next? What do we do next? What would you like to do next? What would be most helpful to you? What did we do well today? What didn't we do well today? What would you recommend I do different as your coach? So asking will give us a lot of feedback, and that's going to make the other person feel like they're in control and that I'm listening too, and I'm walking the talk as well. Because that's what I'm asking them to do, is to listen more.
Yeah,
right.
that is that is a great modeling that you just described. And I could see how powerful that would be. And so, from what I'm hearing, there's a lot of different layers to this work. And I bet there's subtleties and levels of sophistication and training that would probably be quite helpful. I know you've got a really exciting event coming up June 28th. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, well, I'm calling it an intensive, Michelle, because I'm going to try to cover a lot of points, but I'm going to go as deep as the audience will allow. Now, to walk my talk, I'm going to be assessing each individual who we invite to be there and agrees to come, with their behavioral style and what motivates them, and also a quick survey to find out what do they want. And then I'm going to see whatever patterns show up, and I'm going to reveal that to the group, and then we're going to try to address that. But we can go as deep as the audience allows, getting into such things as mindfulness, which is a term about being aware of how you're being with people and what's going on, and that's real, being present. So you're right. There are a lot of nuances here, and we can get into those, but I'm going to talk about the brain and how the brain functions, and your audience, what we need to keep in mind about what their needs are so that we can all be appropriate to them. So we're going to teach the getting buy-in process. We're going to talk about the attitude and the process and the skills, but we're also going to talk about the practical applications for that audience. So I'm hoping people will bring real live examples of what they want to achieve. So by the end, they walk out with some understanding about what they can do to be more effective. In the end, that's the most important thing that we're going to accomplish in this short half-day program on the 28th of June here at the Lux Sunset Boulevard Hotel. So that's what we're about for that.
That is awesome. And I know, just knowing your work and having interacted with you, that it's going to be incredibly powerful. And I'm really looking forward to being there. I'm looking forward to learning from your teaching and the dynamic people that will be in the room. So thank you, Brett. This is exciting.
It is. It's going to be a great group. I'll do my best to walk the talk. I'm going to allow the adults in the room to dialogue with me and with each other. There's going to be a lot of value received. There's no doubt about that.
That is so awesome. Well, I can't wait. And thank you again. This was really awesome.
Thank you. I hope people come. I know you're going to be inviting some people. I've got several people that are key that are coming as well. So I'm excited too. Thank you, Michelle.
Yeah, thank you.